as
Sure.
one of our great sponsors. Go ahead.
Sure, thank you. I'm Sal Picataggio. I'm immigration attorney with Colombo and Hurd in Orlando. Happy to be a sponsor of Global this year after being a member for several years and on and off of the operations committee, but happy to be a sponsor this year. And I am an immigration attorney who represents well, a lot of the same people you all represent. Foreign nationals who are relocating to the United States, either temporarily or permanently. They're looking for whatever they need on the immigration side so they could stay here and enjoy those beautiful homes that you're all finding for them. So we help entrepreneurs, investors, families, employers and employees, those with master's and PhD degrees in their fields, doctors, engineers. We find them the best method to immigrate to the United States and assist them with the entire process. In our office, we have attorneys and staff who speak multiple languages, Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, and others. And we are a full service immigration law firm, both the proactive processes, like I just mentioned, for entrepreneurs and investors, but also the reactive ones if someone is having some issues with the immigration service and are being forced to leave. We do help with deportation and removal as well, and asylum and family cases. So we really do it all. So if your clients or you need help with immigration services, please give me a call or an email. I'll put my contact information in the chat, which is there on my screen, and I will be happy to speak with you about anything I can do to help.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Saul. And I think we have Justin back, do we? Justin, are you there? Hafid, can you please check if Justin is back? Oh, she is.
Yes.
Hi, Justin.
Justine, can you hear us? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Unmute yourself.
You hear me?
Now we can.
Now, yes.
Oh, can you? Okay. Hi, everybody. So sorry about my technical issues. It's too many Zooms in a row. So thank you for the opportunity for the same thing that Sal just said. We're thrilled to be a sponsor of Global this year. And when I say we, I mean the Grove Resort. So hopefully all of you are familiar with the Grove Resort and Water Park. We are 878 2 and 3 bedroom condo hotel units. We have the units are incredibly large actually for condo hotel units. And we are now adding to that with the terraces with with studios and 1 bedrooms. So I think something that is a couple of things that are completely different about us than anybody else that you might see as far as the resort properties. Number 1, we have Florida's best water park in our back garden. So our occupancy, even during this period of COVID, which is obviously of great importance to all of our owners, has been higher. Certainly hasn't been what it should be, but it's been higher than any of our competitors because we have the water park that brings everybody in. Secondly, our units are, because they're quite large, in between about 12 and 1,600 square feet, a lot of our owners have even come in and spent extended amounts of time in the unit and just enjoyed the good weather that obviously a lot of people are escaping snow at the moment. So third thing that I would like to say is we are 10% commission. We love working with realtors. And I'm going to ask Jasmine, who is our sales manager, to just jump on and give you a couple of the promotions that we have at the moment, because we're doing a couple of blowout sales. Right, Jasmine?
We are. Good morning, everybody. Nice to see all these smiling faces. I'm Jasmine Ryerson, sales manager here at the Grove. Just like Justine had mentioned, we do have some amazing promotions going on right now. Over at the Grove, we do offer our 10% commission, just like Justine said. That always gets everybody excited. For our owners, we're also offering a 10% leaseback. We are also doing some contributions to pay for their HOA as well as towards their closing cost. With the terraces, that is our new property that we will be building. We do have the ability to offer some HOA contribution for them, as well as a payment plan that they can slowly make their payments toward their deposit. So we've got a lot of good things coming on over here, a lot of exciting things. Please reach out to me directly. I'm more than happy to get you in touch with somebody on our sales team.
Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. In addition to the Grove and Columbus, we also want to say thank you to Park Square and Money Corp for being our sponsors. And before I give the mic to Kelly to take on this awesome meeting, I want to say thank you to our board of directors that join us today. Reese is a past president. I have Tensi and Natalie, Alisa. Thank you all for being here. A big shout out to our past president, Steve Mershon as well. I want to thank you all for the work that you do. We appreciate you. And I will honorably, with happiness, I will give the mic to Kelly and let the show start.
There we go. Awesome. Good morning, everybody. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I have two reasons why I'm really excited to see everybody today. One is because I miss you all greatly. And two is because we had such a great response to this meeting today that we almost had to flip it to webinar style, which meant you only would have been able to see, a couple of our faces. But we managed to upgrade our Zoom meeting profile so that we could continue to do it Zoom style so that we could actually see everybody's faces, which is a great thing, especially being trapped in our houses so much. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to give a quick shout out to our meetings task force members who helped put this meeting together. And also a shout out to Annie, the co-chair of the meetings task force, which has helped us bring you this fantastic meeting today. So we have two great speakers, and I am going to introduce our first one to you, which is Mr. Tony Tate. So Tony is originally from South Carolina. He has been a private real estate investor throughout the Southeast and Southwest since 2012, and is now a licensed realtor in Florida. Tony brought his background in disruptive technology to his partnership with the Southeast Orlando office of Premier Sotheby's International Realty. In his ongoing work as a Bitcoin analyst, he has been collaborating on numerous real estate cryptocurrency projects, and he involved Smart City and smart contracts in 2016. As a private investor, Tony facilitated and structured the buying and selling of real estate with cryptocurrency and blockchain assets. Additionally, he has developed a certification process that assists title companies in handling real estate transactions in accordance with local Florida and US regulatory agencies. A graduate of ITT Technical Institute and the University of Phoenix, Tony also holds bachelor's degrees in electronic engineering, business and information systems, and a Master of Science degree in distributed systems, as well as an MBA in technology management. Whew. I think this is the most important thing to mention before I hand over to Tony. In his time away from the office, Tony enjoys giving back to the community with faith-based service through his home church, which is Summit Church in Orlando. In case any of you also attend there, be sure to look out for Tony. He is an Army veteran and also proudly works with other military veterans on health and wellness issues. Thank you so much, Tony, for your service. And at this time, I hand the mic over to you. Thank you.
Wow. Thanks a lot. So first of all, I'm super excited to be able to share a lot of this. And I remember, I remember thinking, a while back, like, man, this is something that's going to be kind of cool. And because I started off, and I'm going to get into that a little bit here when I talk about me, but I'm just super excited. And I just want to send a special thanks to you, the Global Council of Orlando, ORRA, Magnolia Closing, Money Corp, for just allowing me to come and speak on your behalf. And I didn't even, being a new member with ORRA, I had no idea this existed. So I'm going to see what I can do about actually becoming a member. So there, I've said it. It's recorded. You guys can hold me to it, whoever's on the membership committee for that. So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. All right, we're going to share the screen here, and we'll kind of talk a little bit. Now, I have a dry wit. I think I am the funniest person that I know. You don't have to laugh at my jokes. I'm going to always be laughing internally, but feel free, because the more the merrier. So I'm going to talk a little bit about real estate and Bitcoin 101. And basically it's what your mom and your papa never told you about crypto, also mainly because it really wasn't invented yet. So I'm going to go ahead and jump in there a little bit and just kind of tell you what I'm going to talk to you about real quick. Some of you who are list checkers, you're going to want to know, okay, what are we going to do? I'm going to talk about what we're going to cover today, and basically if you're getting your $25 worth and your time spent here. I'm going to talk about me a little bit, talk about Currency Cadets, talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin specifically. What is a blockchain? How does it work in the real estate industry? And how does this affect me as a professional, and how does this affect me as a private citizen? So we're going to go ahead and jump on a little bit. Kelly was gracious enough to share some of the stuff here, but I kind of like to let you know who you're dealing with and who you're talking to. There's my family. There's, I wear many hats. Some of them not always because of breast cancer, but I am an Army Ranger. She's already went over some stuff, and I have a lot of initials. Some of them are pretty boring, but for the most part, I do like to serve at my church. It is kind of the cherry on top that I get to do. But as far as me professionally speaking, literally professionally speaking, these are just some of the publications and some of the events that I've been in. There's me talking in Tampa a while back, because I've been involved in this space for a very, very long time. So let's talk about the D's. Basically in 2012, Premier Strategy Partners, we kind of had a division. Well, let me go back here. I got ahead of myself here. We had a division that dealt with the SEO and SERP, e-commerce and website development and branding and other various digital services, because we worked with a lot of people in the real estate industry, the legal industry, and private mortgage individuals. So as you can see, if you're looking at the logo of Premier Strategy Partners, it kind of fits right into the heart of what we are at Currency Cadets, as far as, making currencies making sense. So I've been a very proud CEO and founder of this company here for a while, because it actually was born from another company that I had when I was just kind of helping the real estate profession. So just some of the stuff that we do at Currency Cadets, whether it's Bitcoin mining, consultation and segmentation, to errors and admission policy guidance. We work with a lot of underwriters that write insurances for your real estate transactions. I mean, when it comes to crypto, basically, we're going to make it do what it do, to quote Jamie Foxx as Ray Charles. So, and we also have like our cadet club membership. Some of these are people that we talk to that if they don't know the difference between a Bitcoin and a wood nickel. That's kind of what we do, because education is key. Some of the people there you may recognize, because some of them have been on, TV and different things like that. So what is cryptocurrency? And we're talking about Bitcoin here. So it's really fascinating, because it isn't really what it appears to be at first glance. It really isn't. Bitcoin isn't money. It's, and the blockchain is really not a system of currency, but it is a platform of trust, okay? It's not a company. It's not like stocks and bonds. I get that question like, is it like stocks? Because it goes up and down. But it's also not solely a currency. It's basically programmable money. And it's just really currency, the medium of exchange, because that's what currency is. That's just the top layer of the application, because the concept of decentralization, when you apply that to the way we as human beings communicate value, it really is imaginary if you think about it, because most of us don't really grasp money per se. I've heard the example a lot where if you take a bunch of, if you have a lot of people, they're going to figure out a way to communicate, and they're going to figure out a way to show value to one another, whether that is socially or economically, right? And Bitcoin is kind of that expression. It was born out of that. We like to talk about the bubble in 2008, and that's kind of where a lot of it was born from, right? So if you look at human history, right, and I know I'm going to kind of do a little bit of backfill, because I don't know where a lot of you are on the scale of cryptocurrency, but if you just talk about money, there's really only been 5 different kinds of money in human history, right? We've had Feathers, beads, and nuts. We've had gold and silver. We had the dollar bill, certificates of deposit. We got plastic money. Some of us have got a little bit in trouble, the plastic money, right? And now network money or cryptocurrency, which is really money for the people. This platform on which you can run as an application. So when I tell you that it is programmable money, literally, programmers make it do what it do. I'm going to say that a lot. So we're going to make it do what it do. So that way, when you leave here, you will understand that cryptocurrency is really a network and it is money for the people. And it's not money for the internet, but it's really, if you think about it, it really is the internet of money. And that's that's what's so special about blockchain. So let's dial it back. A lot of times I talk to people and somebody says, man, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like, what is it? And I think the big reason is because people don't understand cryptocurrency because they don't understand money. It's just a language. I said it earlier, how we communicate value. That's it. It's how we express value to one another. There are some economic consequences, and we use money to create social bonds and relationships and associations, even to create organization. But Bitcoin really is probably the first system of money that is not controlled by any entity and that is completely decentralized. Now, some people that scares, but here's the thing about things that are centralized and are regulated. If it's regulated, it can be manipulated. So just understand that. You can't really manipulate the cryptocurrency market because there's too many checks and balances. The security is ridiculous. Just to give you an example, if you're dealing with an exchange that is FDIC insured, NCUA insured, and SIPC regulated, where they're going to protect your money, just like they would if you had money in a checking account, right? If you are dealing with those types of exchanges right here on American soil, well, they got to take a picture front, back of your license, which isn't any different from a bank. But what they're also going to do, they're also going to scan your face and make sure that the face that is on that license is the face that you have on your body. That's actually you. Some people have actually been victims of identity theft would have loved to have had that extra layer of security when it comes to their assets and their finances. So when you do that and you think about that and you understand that money is a speech, money is speech and it's a language, and how we do that, really and truly, it's basically money over IP. It just completely separates itself from institutions. If you think about it, you have gold coins and you have gold certificates. You have the Diners Club card versus cash, right? Those are different mediums, but they're really trying to communicate a value. And when you think about that, cryptocurrency is borderless. You can build applications on top of this, which is where smart cities come from, smart contracts. I'm going to talk about that a little bit, but it is really programmable money. And here's the thing about Bitcoin. It never asks for permission. I give people a lot of these examples about how when the internet comes for your industry, you better be ready. And if you want a perfect example of that, look at what happened when the internet came for the entertainment industry. Some of you are old enough to remember Napster. Some of you are old enough to remember how you would take your CDs and you have your Napster or LimeWire. You're sharing all of these things, and people are like, wait a minute, that's like stealing music. I'm like, it's not stealing the music as much as music producers do or the bad music executives, but I'm going to digress. I'm going to pull back a little bit from that because I'm very opinionated in that regard. But for the most part, all you really need is two interested parties. Somebody that wants to get the money for something and somebody that has to send the money to pay for something. That's your market segment. And you have your application to do that. It is really and truly amazing. Because when you push the innovation to the edges of the network and you remove all the requirements for permission, for example, when you go to a bank and you want to get your money out of an ATM, you've got to put in those keys and you got to have permission from this other institution, or let's say you're not using your own ATM. You bank at Bank of America, but using a Chase ATM. Chase has to get permission from Bank of America to actually give you your money. And then of course they're going to take their cut because $4 is the average cost of an ATM if you're not using it at your bank. But that $4 is split up 24 different ways, including the 12 banks that make up the central banking system. I affectionately, and I mean affectionately, refer to them as the Cartel 12. Okay, but I'm going to move on past that, right? Because application before this really couldn't be because they did require permission. You know, like when you're sending a wire, you know, it could be a large market segment. But here's the thing: adoption by many is really available to everyone. You know, and I do a lot of I build a lot of wells. I finance a lot of wells and mission trips to parts of Africa. And imagine if any of you've ever been on a mission trip and any of you've ever donated money to Africa. Sometimes you got to bribe the local officials to be able to let you in for stuff like that. But imagine what it would be like if it was a solar powered, a way to charge a cell phone, solar power that was connected to an operation or whatever, to where you could send money directly to the people in need without having to go through warlords and things like that. So anybody that's ever done that kind of work, I want you to really think about that, because that's kind of where my heart is with a lot of this. Because here's the thing about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin: it doesn't recognize borders, people, refrigerators, AI, any of that. I mean, the old systems of money require a personhood and a citizenship. Like, try to wire money from a country that's not in one of the ones that we like to try to buy property over here in America. Not only are you going to have to wait about 8 or 9 business days, but there's going to be a lot of checks and balances if it's coming from Syria or somewhere like that. You know, it's just, it requires that as an individual or a corporation or a person or citizenship. You have to be somebody that they can look up, because money is amoral. It's the people who have immorality that do bad things with money is where and that's what people want to make sure of. Okay. Now, I'm not sure why that annotation got there. We're going to have to remove that. But Bitcoin can be owned by machines. Okay. It can. It can be owned by software agents. It can be owned by machines. Whoops, let me back up here. I was trying to get that, marking up my own paper here. So it can be owned by machines. It can be owned by software agents. It can be owned by any of that stuff, right? It just can. You just want to make sure that, quite frankly, that Bitcoin is something that you understand. So whether it's a software agent or a machine, I'll even give you an example. I don't know if you guys have ever saw the TV show or the movie, excuse me, Total Recall, where Arnold Schwarzenegger went to Mars and he was catching a cab, and it was called a Johnny Cab, and it was like a computer that drove you around and you had to pay with credits, right? We're there. That movie was out. That movie is almost 20 years old, but that's where we are. Because you could basically have an AI that has its own Bitcoin, that can run its own delivery service, and it could incorporate itself and do all of these things without human intervention. I know it's kind of scary, but that's it. Because Bitcoin and blockchain kind of unifies the system of money, whether it's small, large, individuals, companies, or governments. Doesn't matter, right? Because it's really kind of how we communicated before the internet, excuse me, right? So if you're just looking at this as money, you're missing the point, because it is a lot deeper than that. Again, money is only the top portion of this, because it is programmable money and it runs on a network. So if we're talking to a kid, and I have a group that I call Crypto Kiddos, where we teach kids from ages 5 to 12 what Bitcoin is, what cryptocurrency is. If you think about blockchain as a train track, cryptocurrency is the trains that run on that, whether it's Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, any of those, right? Those are the those that run on that track. Now, looking at that, you know, these are really the building blocks of the platform. And you can create other languages. That's why we have other tokens. You have other reward points. You have even brand loyalty tokens. Like, we're used to that. Like, we'll go to, we'll say Starbucks, and we'll have like Starbucks bucks, right? I don't know what they're called. I don't drink, so nobody kill me on that, right? But you have those kinds of things that are already. Some of these are going to represent some things that are in the physical world also. But like the title for a house, or the controlling key of a car that can be transferred from one owner to another by validating things along the way on the blockchain. It's the new standard of ownership. And that's done by a way of smart contracts. Okay. So here's kind of how a smart contract works. You got a house that you want to sell. You got somebody who wants to buy the house. You kind of have this, you know, that you got a master buyer and seller. There's an exchange, right? You have the contract. You have, you distribute the assets. It comes in, it's registered on the blockchain. You've got the ownership that is indisputed because it's already programmed in there what to look for. You have the clearing and settlement, everything is automated, and boom, now the land deed is digitized with the private key, and the currency is already dispersed. So the person's got the new home, the seller's got their money, and all of this stuff is done in a digital format. It's really and truly amazing when you think about where we are. It just is. I've participated in some pilot programs out west in California to where these smart communities you walk in as a realtor, and let's say you're listing a house you're going to have a private showing, and you're going to invite a bunch of people in the cryptocurrency community. You're having your wine tasting, you're having all these lovely things you're doing. People are basically walking around, they're just kind of looking at it, right? Then people are literally lining up and they're taking a number and they want to offer conditions for the house, and they're set forth. And if they're final, they're non-negotiable. They're non-negotiable. So let's say you get the winning. Let's say you get the winning contract accepted. You go and you scan a QR code. Now you own. Now you paid money to where it needs to go. The survey is redone in your name. You're getting an email in about 15 minutes from the utility company letting you know that it's on, and they've collected the money. For that one, you don't have to worry about a deposit for the utilities coming on. Everything's transferred in your name. You're sent a web portal on your smart device, changing the key code right then and there for your front door. You're getting Xfinity wants to come out and want to know when you want to have everything turned over to your name. It's that fast. It's just like that, and it's coming. We don't have that here in Florida yet, but it's coming. And these are things that you kind of have to know from a real estate professional. Now, if you're into mortgages, if you're a mortgage professional, then yes, you wanna kind of really pay close attention to this here, because I've went round and round with underwriters. I've actually trained a group of underwriters. I've actually done some work with TRG. Some of you know that as a title insurer. And we have had to explain to them in painstaking detail, because for some reason, underwriters are fearful. Maybe they realize that this could potentially end up taking their jobs, I guess, because if there's no underwriter and conditions are already met, then guess what? Now you're looking at a system that doesn't need underwriters, because everything has been done with checks and balances, and they have to look a certain way. Now, let's just kind of walk through this here. You're buy, hey, let's buy this house. You're gonna request, you're gonna put an offer in, providing all the information. It's gonna be assessing and creating the offer. Then the seller is gonna agree to the offer. You're gonna transfer and register the money. Then after that's done, ownership takes place, and this can happen instead of 3-day closings and underwriting. You're looking at reducing this time by up to 75%. This is already happening in some sectors. It just really is. Those of you who have had the luxury of being or listing a home for somebody that wanted that, here are some places that it may be on a contract. I've seen it in a couple different ways, whereas the person wants the US Bitcoin equivalent at closing, cash, VA, and other being Bitcoin, lines 21 to 23. In a residential sales contract in Florida. Also, I've seen it here. The additional terms, seller would like to have his disbursement in USD equivalent in Bitcoin or Ethereum at the time. So people worry about the volatility. Whenever these things happen, and CJ will remind you this, and I'll just say it anyway, but basically what happens is that they, at the time of the escrow, the deposit needs to be made or the payment needs to be made, you'll get like a QR code. You got a 15-minute window to make that payment, and it's secure. You don't have to worry about phishing. You don't have to worry about chargebacks or any of that, because that QR code cannot reverse funds at all whatsoever. So these are just some of the ways that I've seen it, and this is how you need to be understanding how this works as a professional whenever you're either receiving an offer or writing a contract for an offer. As a mortgage as a mortgage loan originator, these are some of the places where it's been recorded on the 1003. That underwriters like. The Gemini Trust Company here, cryptocurrency, $46,044, in assets. There's a escrow deposit in cryptocurrency of $100,000 that's in, for this particular deal. But obviously, these are just some of the few places you may see it in one or both of these places on a mortgage loan application. Here is the deal. Bitcoin really has been front and center of the past few months, especially. I mean, this is a currency that exists purely in digital form. If you see people with the coin, it's a replica. It's something that, not a replica, excuse me. It's more of indicative. It's kind of a novelty, because cryptocurrency is not actually tangible. You can't hold it, right? You can't do that. But if you ask yourself, if you think about it, if you had to tell somebody right now how much money you had in your checking account to the penny, you probably couldn't. Some of us could, but most of us probably couldn't do that. So we're already in this scan here, swipe here, Apple Pay this, you know, MasterPass, this, that, and the other. We're moving this way. But what does this really mean for the real estate industry, right? Buying and selling homes through Bitcoin has been really more commonplace overseas, but it's really now starting to gain a lot of traction in the US. I've consulted on either one or both sides of 78 different real estate transactions in the last 36 months that had to do with Bitcoin, as well as even working with the owner developer on condo developments that they offer Bitcoin as a closing. And so I'm going to so I kind of have like a little cheat sheet here, a little list of about 5 things that every agent and broker should know about selling a house with Bitcoin, right? The value continues to rise and move closer to mass adoption every day. I mean, it just really is. I mean, the buzz, this is a huge buzz that's drawing a lot of investors all around the world. And it's critical that that real estate buyers and sellers that are transacting in Bitcoin have a really good understanding of technology. I get people that say, hey, do you know about crypto? Can you help this? Can you help that? Can you point me to a title company? You know, and so a lot of title companies didn't do it. So that's why we took it upon ourselves to work with some different agencies to come up with a certification process for the right kind of title company to be involved, like Magnolia, for example. Now, Bitcoin, it does exist outside of traditional financial markets. You got to know that. One of this country's biggest draws for investors who want to avoid the volatility of euros. And I'm sorry, Rosie, I'm going to pick on Greece here for a little bit. One of my clients that I had was in Greece. In Greece, they had some really big capital controls. Like you couldn't transfer more than $2,000 out of the country of Greece. And one way that people were able to do that and free up their money for the capital controls is they had it in Bitcoin. You know, because again, Bitcoin is borderless. It doesn't need permission. Just think about that. Now, for this reason, real estate professionals can expect, you know, an increased interest among their international clientele. It's already happening a lot, especially once Bitcoin crossed over the $50,000 a coin mark. When I started doing this, Bitcoin was around about $1,500 a coin when I started doing what I'm doing now. Just to give you guys, you know, some of that. Now, the heaviest user demographic of Bitcoin are European males between the ages of 25 and 34. Also, I'd add to that, a close second behind that are esports gamers. So if you know people that are gamers, that are into esports and looking to buy homes, a lot of them use cryptocurrency, even that Dogecoin. But I'm going to keep my comments to myself with regards to that. Followed closely by Asian women between the ages of 35 and 44. And so if you're not a real estate agent that has a CIPS certification, you might want to start looking into that designation. You might want to. Just a little, you know, just some unsolicited advice there about what you should be looking at in your career. Now, you got to have flexible partners. This is a must. A lot of us, we have relationships with title companies, mortgage professionals such as, you know, the mortgage firm and other people like that. You've got to find fluid partners. Title companies, for example, who are comfortable working with Bitcoin. You got some, and listen, I'm all about supporting small business and mom and pop. And you might have a sweet old Aunt Jenny's got a title company. She's been doing this, you know, forever. But sweet old Aunt Jenny's title company is going to have to kind of get with the times a little bit, or else she's going to really, you know, be affected by the loss of business as it becomes more and more. Because I can tell you right now, there are probably some people out there right now still looking for VCR repair shops. And now we're streaming, so forget even DVD. So if you don't have a flexible partner settlement agency, then it's gonna be tough to do any of this because it's so new and the value changes every day. Payment service providers who will want to convert Bitcoin to dollars to mitigate the risk for wary buyers. And I'll let CJ share with you a situation where we actually caught somebody trying to do some bad stuff with cryptocurrency and real estate. So flexible partners, probably out of the 5, this is probably one of the best thing that you got to kind of know. You just do. You know, and in the U.S., the bulk of real estate Bitcoin deals that have been done without they have been done without a mortgage. Now, there are some different things out there that I've seen lately. I've seen where seller held seconds are being done now, where the instrument to repay goes to a company like BlockFi, where the instrument to pay it back is with Bitcoin in USD equivalent at the time that you're doing that, that you're making that monthly mortgage payment. Bitcoin has really garnered a lot of traction abroad than in the US, and they're really for cash buyers. They want that security. It really is. I mean, it acts like cash, but it's super secure, and it is guaranteed like a wire. It follows the good funds principle. The funds are immediately and readily available, and even people who don't like Bitcoin and they want to be paid with US dollars in their transactions, certain title companies are set up to where the moment that cryptocurrency is transaction completed, it is immediately converted into US dollars. So even if you don't like crypto, that's okay. You still get paid in US dollar. Don't know why you would, but that's okay. You can still do that. But in that same vein, really partnering with the international real estate company is paramount. With all due respect, with all of my brethren out there, is one of the reasons why I chose Premier Sotheby's International Realty to hang my license. But there's a lot of them out there that are wonderful and are great. Even some boutique firms that have a really, really good pulse on the international community, they're also very, very well. So they also do very, very well. So I just want to let you guys, these are kind of the 5 things I think you really should know if you're going to take anything away from the day. And how does it affect you as a person? I've always said this. It would probably be in your best interest to wrap your mind around crypto before the entire world wraps their arms around it. It's really that simple. You just want to go where everybody's going, but you want to get there first. So I just want to give a special thanks to Magnolia Closing Company and Kelly and Eva of Money Corp for having me here, the Global Real Estate Council of Orlando, and also the Orlando Realtor Association. Shout out to my broker, Carrie Prieto. I love her to death. She's awesome. And so I hope I'm not over my time. I hope I was within the bounds of my time. Sometimes I get a little bit excited, but I wanted to make sure that I stayed in there. So how did I do? Did I do okay on time?
Like perfect. So thank you so much, Tony.
Awesome.
There's some really phenomenal questions in the chat, so keep those rolling, guys. We do have another speaker that might actually get some of those questions answered throughout her presentation, but we will review those questions in the chat at the conclusion of our next speaker. So thank you so much again, Tony. I think that those of us that don't know the difference between cryptocurrency and a wood nickel might have a better grasp on it now. So thank you so much for going over that. So I am excited to now introduce our next speaker, CJ Taylor. She is a business development representative at Magnolia Closing Company. She graduated from Rollins College in 2019, where she studied public relations and Spanish and started her career with Magnolia in 2020. She now uses her marketing skills to help agents with their social media, branding, and farming. And with that, CJ, please take the floor.
Hello, everyone. I see someone in the comments say "Go Tars," and that makes me super happy. So hello, my fellow Rollins alum. I'm going to share a little bit about myself, a little bit about Magnolia, and I'm also going to share how the process works on the title side. So again, there's going to be a Q&A at the end between me and Tony and everybody else, so we will be able to address those questions that you're asking. So before I begin, I'm just going to share a little bit about myself to add on to what Kelly said. So I did graduate from Rollins. During that opportunity, I got to study abroad. I got to experience and become a global citizen, which was really awesome. I currently live in Maitland, Florida with my cat. We live right behind the Maitland Library. It's really peaceful. And I work for the awesome Magnolia Closing Company. We are pretty small. We have 5 locations. So if you haven't heard of us, that's okay. Just so you know, our locations are in Claremont, Tavares, Winter Park, Lake Nona, and Waterford. If you're not in those areas, that's okay. We cover the cost for mobile closers, so we close all over the state of Florida. And just a little bit about us as well, as we are women-owned and women-led. It's kind of our company fun fact, whoop, whoop, girl boss. So I think that's super awesome. It's such a wonderful opportunity to be able to share with you guys information on the title side of cryptocurrency. So let me go ahead and share my presentation and get started here. Bear with me. All right. Sorry, guys, bear with me. All right. All right, guys, so I'm going to be talking about closings and cryptocurrency. So I'm going to talk about why cryptocurrency is important, kind of touching on the things that Tony has already talked about and what the process looks like so we can get a little bit more clarity for you guys. So why cryptocurrency? The real estate industry is changing dramatically. We know that, right? As new technologies and services influence the way society completes real estate transactions. One of the emerging technologies of the last decade is cryptocurrency. Now, Tony talked about, the mom and pop boutique title companies and the mom and pop boutique lenders.
CJ, sorry to interrupt just quickly. We're not seeing, we just see one black dot, I think, on your presentation.
Oh, you don't see my screen?
We see it, but it's just a white screen with one black dot.
I can see it.
I'm seeing
You
it.
can?
I can see it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Keep
I
on
can
rolling.
Kelly, I can send it to you too so that you can see it. If anyone cannot see it, let me know and I can share this with you and email it to you directly. So you guys can get with me after and then we can make sure everyone gets this information. Sound good? All right. So like Tony, oh, somebody else says they don't see it. That's so odd. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and proceed for the people who can see it, and for the people who can't, we'll just fill them in and send it to them directly. Is that okay? Perfect. All right, so like Tony was saying, the mom and pop companies, they do need to get with the times, right? It's important to understand why and how things are changing and making sure that we make those adaptations so that we can service you guys and that we can be there as well to make sure that we can provide you guys with everything you need to get to the closing table. So as this type of transaction becomes a more popular and accepted option for home buyers and sellers, those who wish to use cryptocurrency require unique services to complete their real estate transaction. So not every title company can do this. And Tony Tate actually certified us to be able to do this. So thank you for that. And thank you for informing us on how to do that. We've been doing it for a while now with success. We have very secure platforms. All of our stuff is done through Qualia. So you will get secure emails and then we use a different platform for cryptocurrency. Just so you guys know, it's super secure. We look at everything to make sure that, it doesn't look like fraud. And if it is, we're going to say, you know what, we're not going to take this because it just doesn't seem, like a safe option. So how does it work? So in many ways, a transaction using cryptocurrency is similar to an all-cash transaction. Instead of the buyer wiring funds for closing, they would send the cryptocurrency through a secure platform to us, Magnolia, or to your title company. The same secure platform can then turn those funds into US dollars for settlement and disbursement to the seller, or if the seller wishes, those funds can be sent to them in cryptocurrency. It would be in the US dollar equivalent minus the processing fee from the secure platform. And this is almost similar to an outgoing or incoming wiring fee. This also applies to any of the agencies or entities involved in the transaction, but it must be set forth in the sales contract or communicated with your title company or us in a timely manner so that we can adjust as needed. So that's how it works. It's pretty simple when we break it down into steps. We were certified by Currency Cadets and by Tony Tate to close in cryptocurrency. And if you have any other questions that I cannot answer, Dina Span, our owner, is the cryptocurrency queen. Her number's on there. I'll share it in the chat as well. I'll also share my information if you want to meet one-on-one or have a phone call to discuss cryptocurrency. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you everyone for having me today and Magnolia here today. It's such an awesome opportunity. And thank you, Tony, for just letting us know about cryptocurrency.
My pleasure.
So now I think we're going to move into the Q&A.
Let's get it.
That's right. So we'll hand it over to Annie, who's going to do her best to go through.
Yes,
JJ,
I round down everything. So we have amazing questions for you, Tony. First, I just don't want to skip. I just have one question for Saul. Saul, do you have lawyer that speaks Spanish? There is a question on the
Yes, we have attorneys and staff who speak Spanish and Portuguese and Italian. I am none of those, but we have really great staff here that can help with that. We're familiar with working with all languages and all parts of the world.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So now is with you, Tony. Get ready. So many questions and keep them coming. First one is an easy one. Can you share the PowerPoint?
Can I share my PowerPoint?
Yes.
Ah, man, I've gotta consider that. I think I can do that because there isn't any trademark things in there, so I can share my PowerPoint. I just need to know if they want me to leave up the pictures in there where I won those awards on the cruise where I was the world's sexiest man. That's documented. It's documented, so I can share that if they want that. Sure, absolutely.
So, okay, thank you. So if you can send to Carol, and Carol will share with us, right, Carol? Perfect. So Tony, another question. How we can get paid? We're gonna get paid in real money or Bitcoin? So we have these questions from Renee.
So I'm gonna take umbrance with that as if Bitcoin is not real money. Believe me when I tell you that I have quite a few things that I paid for Bitcoin with, and those properties are real properties. I drive real cars, I wear real clothes, and I've traveled, in really nice airplanes. So it's still real money. But how you want to get your payment, we have it set up in our process to where if somebody they don't know anything about crypto, they want to get paid in cash, where they've always gotten paid, even though they may find a buyer that wants to buy it with crypto. Soon as it goes to the platform, it is just like sending a wire where it'll pin that day, and the very next day it is in the escrow account ready for disbursement like anything else happens any other time.
Okay, perfect. And when you were talking about flexible partners, Rini asked how. I don't know what she means at how, but that's what she wrote here.
So some examples. A flexible partner would be a title company, obviously. Maybe somebody that's doing your film photography. They may say, hey, we want to get compensated in crypto. The survey, if they put that in there where these people are going to be, if it's in the contract, then the seller will pay it at closing. Again, in Florida, everything's negotiable. So there are going to be some people that provide some services, because here is the thing, as our immigration attorney can attest to, sometimes there are people who may have difficulty for whatever reason, whether it's an EB-5 visa or whatever, and they're not able to get a checking account or a savings account. So they may have to transact in cryptocurrency because they may have a few issues with getting a checking account here in America. Maybe maybe they were born in Mecca, but their name is Saddam Hussein, and they have a hard time getting a checking account at Bank of America if they happen to have the name Saddam Hussein. So just a lot of things like that.
Perfect. And do we need any special certificate to do that, or anyone can do it? Just any transaction? That's a question for Shirley.
Well, as far as you need to observe RESPA. You need to you need to make sure that FinCEN is not going to be knocking on your door, and you need to know everything that follows a good funds principle if you are a title company. But if you're a title company, you have some questions about what that looked like, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help you with that. But any two people can transact. I could send, if I want to send you $1 million right now, Annie, in Bitcoin, you and I could do that. We wouldn't need anything else. It would go right from my Bitcoin account to yours, and that's that. We don't need to do anything else. So.
Perfect. So Diana is asking 1140 here, what is exactly the blockchain and how is related to cryptocurrency? If you see here, 1140. Just, can you see the chat box? It's 1140. Diana is asking, what is exactly blockchain and how is related to cryptocurrency?
Okay, so if cryptocurrency is a train, the blockchain is basically what it runs on. The blockchain really simply it's called a blockchain because it's a daisy chained blocks of information that's like an electronic ledger that has every single transaction that's ever happen. Maybe you're someone, maybe you're buying, let's say for example, you're buying a property and you're buying it in your business name before you incorporate that business or whatever. And the bank wants to see 3 years worth of bank statements. Well, you can only download about like a year's worth online, right? So you got to pay your bank a research fee, $3 a page to produce all of your bank statements that goes back. You can go all the way back right now by looking at the blockchain if you had the Bitcoin address to see a transaction that occurred on January the 3rd, 2009, if you wanted to, without a research fee. So because the blockchain is immutable. Once it's been confirmed, which is part of what Bitcoin mining is, once it's been confirmed 6 times, it is there, it is immutable. You cannot delete it. It will live forever. As long as we're not entering into a zombie apocalypse and the internet is still functioning around the world with the global positioning system, you will be able to see details for that transaction. And that type of transparency is amazing and secure. So and the Bitcoin is what is the currency that's going to be spent, and the blockchain is going to be the ledger that records those transactions.
And Stacy is asking, why not just have the buyers or sellers convert their funds to cash and do the transaction in cash?
So here's the thing, they can absolutely do that, but this isn't that type of a presentation. They can do that because some people don't want to do that because number one, if you're dealing with somebody, like I said before, if they had an issue with a checking account or whatever, or maybe maybe it's cost prohibitive, because I'll give you an example here, and this will probably blow your mind. A gentleman from Australia bought a property in Fort Lauderdale, and he needed to move his money from Australia over here. They told him it was going to take him 11 days to send an international wire. Would have been about $300 in fees all the while. He moved 8 figures worth of Ethereum for a transaction, and it took about 36 minutes. And the total cost for that, around $1.30.
Wow.
So it's more economical, it's faster, it's more secure. So you can do that, but then if you sell that, because remember, if you're going to convert cryptocurrency to cash, you got to do it through an exchange, and that exchange wants 3 to 5%. So if you're sending a $5 million, I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money I want to keep for that transaction. A $50 million transaction, my God, that's going to cost you about $100,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That's a lot of money. That's a very nice car.
So what is the, I think you just answered that, but what is the fee charged when crypto converts? You just answered that.
Yeah, it varies. Every exchange is different. It's like, how much is a gallon of milk at Publix? How much is it at Walmart? They're gonna charge you what they want to charge you within reason.
Okay, so Stacy is asking, are there massive tax implications for buyers who convert the crypto to cash to buy a home?
So here's where I have to give you my speech, because as a realtor, we are never supposed to delve into areas that our license does not cover. That includes tax implications. I can talk about my experiences offline, but what I can tell you is this. You can, just like if you're buying a house, you can have up to a gift of $20,000. If you have a transaction that's less than $20,000, it will not automatically trigger a cash transaction report. It will not automatically trigger a taxable event. If it's a family member or something like that, or if it's your personal savings. So when you buy and sell crypto, you're going to get compensated in 1 of 3 ways. You can count it as income, you can count it as short-term gains or long-term gains. And if it's income, it's subject to the regular self-employment tax whenever somebody 1099s you at the time of conversion.
Perfect. We have so many questions, Tony, like lots and lots, and they keep coming. So who determines the rate to convert the Bitcoin in US dollars?
That exchange. I have an exchange that I like that, I don't want to do it here, but people can reach out to me and I'll give them a link where they can get like $25 in free Bitcoin if they use this special link. It's not like a Ponzi or whatever. They do all the kind of stuff you're supposed to do. They actually have an address right there, their New York address. So they're good. I've done a few things. So they're an exchange, like any other exchange, whether you exchange at the bank, you exchange at the airport, they're an exchange. And so when you do that, you got to make sure that your IDs. I'll tell you a funny story. A lady actually was pregnant. She couldn't even open up her cryptocurrency account in exchange because she had gained so much weight when she was pregnant. Her face did not match the face on her driver's license. Well, I'm never going to have crypto because I like that driver's license picture and I'm never going to change it. So, so ladies out there, you might want to update it. Maybe you don't show it, or maybe you just kind of use it for specific reasons. But you know, she couldn't even open up her account. She had to wait, and eventually she was able to do that. But yeah, because her face did not look like her driver's license, so she couldn't open it. She couldn't exchange it. So the rates are what they are.
Yeah, that's funny. We have a question here about, I don't know if you can answer, but how ensure Bitcoin is not used to hide illegal activities in money laundering?
How can you make sure that people don't money launder cash? How can you make sure that people don't money launder with wires? How can you make sure that people don't money launder with cocaine or diamonds they've stuffed in bears that they paid off in import-export officials? Listen, if bad people are going to find a way to do bad things, you're not going to stop everybody, right? All we can do is work with, you know, the FDIC, the SEC, the CFTC. I call them the alphabet gang, right? FERC, FINRA, all these. All we can do is do what we're going to do, but that doesn't mean people aren't going to bounce checks, right? Doesn't mean that people aren't going to try to fish for wires. We got to do everything that we got to do within the confines of the law and our power, and also just common sense. Because one of the courses that I taught when I taught, actually went back and taught it at University of Phoenix, is ethical hacking. I make sure that you keep your stuff secure, and businesses do the same thing, because if you knew how dangerous it was to use a free Wi-Fi at the airport or Wi-Fi at Starbucks, you would not sleep at night. I hope you never do it again. But there's things you can do to protect yourself to make sure it never happens.
Okay. We have so many questions. I don't know, Kelly, are we going to have time to do all these questions?
Tony, at this point, would you mind adding your contact information into the chat? Because I think a lot of the questions are relating to, how do I get started? Where do I go if I want to learn more?
I'm going to copy it. I put it in there a few times. I'm going to do it again here now. I'm just going to have them, boom, there's 2 different email addresses, and there's a phone number they can reach me at right there. If someone asks again, we can just copy and paste or anything like that. So
I think we are right at, you know, the time that we plan to end the meeting. So I think at this time, Anna, as long as you agree, we'll hand it over to you and Hafid to give any final remarks. This presentation was recorded, and as long as Tony is happy to share his presentation, he will also send that over to Carol. So feel free to reach out to Carol, Anna, or myself, and we will try to get you the information upon request. But Tony and CJ, we thank you so much for being here today. Tony, I know you want to say one more thing, so go ahead.
No, I was going to say, somebody was asking me about events, and I'm like, listen, you guys need to reach out to CJ Taylor at Magnolia Closing, because we do a lot of events that's called Crypto and Cocktails, and for the early birds, we do Crypto and Coffee. You know, so we do a lot of those where we just kind of sit around and we just, you know, I love giving the information out. So that's it. So that's kind of what we do. So I know she's got a few of those tentatively scheduled. Like I think it's the first Tuesday after the first day of spring. I don't know the date. So just give me CJ on that. And I just want to thank y'all again so much for the opportunity to let me to share what I'm super passionate about, what actually ended up dragging me into the real estate industry, because I've helped so many people in this industry because of what I've done. So thank you so much, Kelly. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Kelly and Annie from our Global Task Force meetings, task force, great events. Want to also thank Carol, our global liaison, for all the hard work that you do. Anna Gazzara, our chair of the Global Council. And of course, one more time, I want to thank our ORRA leadership that with us today. I think I see Lisa, I see Reese, I see Tenzi and Juliana. I really appreciate you guys being here. It is a great class that we all learned from. With that, Anna, if you have anything else to say, I will have one more announcement. That is, Tony, thank you for bringing CIPS. We actually have a class May 3rd to the 7th at ORRA. So for any information, please get with Carol. If you don't have a CIPS, please get with Carol for that. And at the same time, if you're not a member of our Global Council, please get with Christina and Marcelo. Marcelo and Christina, if you guys want to put your contact in there for anybody that interested or join our Global Council. Anna, anything to add before we go?
Just a reminder about our next event. It's on March 25th, and we're going to be talking about opportunity zones, diversity and inclusion. This is a big deal. And I would like to see you all there with us again. That's always a pleasure to see you. And thank you so much for all your support in our global. And we